the situation.
This is the Pegasus Podcast, presented by Night Sports Now. UCF news, views, and a few hot takes. Now, here are your hosts, Bailey Go Knights Adams and Christian Charge On Simmons.
Welcome into episode 292. Be sure you're following us on Twitter at BaileyJAdams22, at ByCASimmons, at Night Sports Now, and at Pegasus Podcast. You can also email us at PegasusPodcast@ksn@gmail.com. UCF lost 27-20, and we might follow suit from that Carolina Panthers fan podcast that decided to take a hiatus indefinitely because of how unfun the team is to watch. But I'm lying, but it sucks. How are you?
I'm having a great time.
Good.
I love it when UCF is incapable of picking up a single yard through 3 tries. That's one of my favorite things. Yeah, I'm doing great. This sucks. And if you're here, I guess my question is why? I feel like if I didn't have the podcast, I wouldn't want to listen about this. But we're going to talk about this game anyway, because that's what we do. And I was saying this to you in the car on the way back. But one thing that I am grateful for with Scott Frost is last year, UCF was pretty bad. You might remember. And I've done the thing again where we're live and I just started reading a comment and stopped talking. I apologize. And we're getting better.
Figure this out at some point.
Guys, as we keep doing, we'll get better. And last year, UCF would go and lose games. And I remember specifically West Virginia at the end of the year or Utah. UCF was losing and I just didn't have emotion for it because it was just so clearly they were going to fire Gus. The team was lifeless. It was just awful. They were losing so much that I just didn't care. So it was like UCF would lose to Utah. And I'm just like, okay, that sucks. This is the first time in a while that I've wanted to die because of the results of a UCF football game. So that's cool. That's exciting that we've got that back at least.
You said that. You did say this to me in the car. I didn't think you were going to put it that way on the podcast.
Because I'm just sitting there watching this team. And we know why. We've been talking about the offensive line issues. We've talked about this since April, guys. So it's not like we understand why. But still watching the offensive line issues and the run game issues rear their ugly head to in the way that UCF just needs one measly little yard to tie the game, and through 3 tries they physically are incapable of getting it. I haven't felt pain and venom and disgust like that while watching this team play in a couple of years. So Frost has brought back the passion in the fan base, and I think that's great.
Sure. You and I have talked about this too. I at no point thought, what if they don't get in here? Because everybody scores from the half-yard line. Every team in the world. Not all of them, but I just couldn't believe 3 straight times you couldn't get enough push. That's embarrassing.
I know.
You know how
I know.
I know they're going to go back and watch the film on it, and I hope they do feel a little embarrassed because you're going to watch them. You're going to watch yourself on tape not be able to create even an ounce of push just to get enough of a hold to get your guy in the end zone in the most crucial point in the game.
I know.
I know. And then I put something about this on Twitter and then said this to you too. What was more frustrating too is that happened 3 times in a row. They go 2nd and goal from the 1, get nothing. 3rd and goal from the 1, get nothing. 4th and goal from the 1, get a half yard. And it was, I don't know. I still am. I need to go back and watch the replay, I guess, even though I swore I wouldn't. I don't know why Cam dove. Oh, yeah, it was Cam Fancher, by the way. We didn't even talk about the fact that Taven Jackson once again got hurt. And it didn't look good. But Cam Fancher's in, and he dove, and part of me is just how do you not just stick – I know UCF's quarterback situation is in a bad spot where, all the injuries. But, stick your shoulder in there and just drive your legs and push your way into the end zone. He dove, and he fell a half yard short, and it sucked. But then right after that, Kansas has the ball at their own half-yard line. Jalen Daniels maybe falls forward, and he gets 2.5 yards.
That was such a frustrating part of it, was watching them with ease pick up the single yard that UCF was incapable of getting on their own. I'm just trying to figure out where – I don't know. I feel like we're all dealing with the struggle of just trying to figure out what this means or how to feel about it, because I'm trying to remember that on the surface, we just did a whole offseason of, hey, the team's not going to be good, and this is year 0. And it's a whole freaking they're going to do what they can, and it is what it is. And if you told me in June, you'd been hey, they're going to start 3-0, they're going to beat UNC, then they're going to lose on the road to Kansas State by 2 scores, then they're going to lose to Kansas by a touchdown, I would think to myself, yeah, okay, that sounds about right for what I expect. Let's see if they can make a bolder position for it. But it's just it's frustrating when they really could have won. And I think what made it so frustrating is that by the time halftime rolled around, I kind of believed that not just that they could, but I thought that they might. I mean, the two big repetitive issues that we've talked about all season are run game problems, run blocking problems, and penalty issues. And in the first half, that all was nothing. That was the best they had looked running the ball all year by a freaking mile.
They weren't even having to throw the ball.
No, that Miles Montgomery touchdown was just a gaping hole. It was perfect.
I don't remember if it was the end of the first quarter. It was at some point, a couple drives in. I looked up, and actually it might have been right before Kansas scored their first touchdown. I just happened to glance at the scoreboard, and I see UCF's yardage. It says they had 101 rushing yards and 30 passing yards. And they had 101 rushing yards in 3 drives.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And it wasn't like we've talked about, except for the Jaden one, which was great, but it wasn't like fluky, explosive plays. It was genuinely, they were moving the ball well on the ground. And part of that was they'd tweaked with the offensive line a little bit. They've been swapping in and out the guards, going between Keegan Smith and Gardner Millar and Cam Kinney. Yeah. I don't know, but they were giving Jabari Brooks and Cam Kinney. I think they started and they were getting time early and they didn't necessarily go away from that. What's weird is that the first half was characterized by the offense playing well. Even the 2-minute drill, they blitzed down the field, got a field goal. I'm like, this is great. And the defense is what I was worried about. Kansas has a really high-powered offense. They were missing Horace Lockett a little bit. On top of that, they just weren't getting a lot of pressure on Jalen Daniels. He had time to make throws down the field, and they were getting down the field. And I'm going, oh, man, this is going to be a shootout. I know some things changed. I know that there was suddenly a driving rainstorm that started right before halftime, but you come out of that half, which was like that, both offenses firing on all cylinders, could be a fun, high-scoring game. You get to the second half, nothing really changes for Kansas's momentum. UCF suddenly just cannot move the ball. Their first 3 offensive drives of the second half they combined for -1 yards on those 3 drives. And listen, we're gonna have to go look back at the game and figure out what happened. But it was so weird because even there in the press box, we're sitting there oh, I don't get it. It's just what changed. I know it did seem like Kansas had figured them out a little bit and was kind of daring them to throw a little bit and realized that they could kind of stuff the run and that would shut things down. But it was such a shocking, even before the Taven injury, just this shocking about face of, oh, this just went from we're back and the offense is fun to the same stuff again, to they can't run the ball anymore, to they're committing penalties. And I would throw my hands up and say it is what it is, but I think one of the most alarming things going forward is Taven got hurt. It looked potentially serious. I don't want to speculate on that. We'll see what happens. It looked like it was some kind of hand injury, but you're in a situation now where Jakari is hurt, Taven is hurt. You are one Cam Fancher bad hit away from Davi Belfort being your quarterback. Yeah. And on top of that, I'm sorry, and maybe I'm just reacting in an emotional state to the game. I think Cam Fancher is not good. And I think that the ceiling with him being out there is notably lower than if Taven is out there. He plays in a chaotic way. And that is not ideal for the talent on this team. This team is too inconsistent to have a quarterback who's going to play in that chaotic way. And I don't know how long he's going to be the guy going forward, given what happened to Taven.
Yeah, that is a scary part because, again, Jakari was out tonight. And listen, I love Jakari, and I've stood on the table for him several times. I don't know. They're in a bad spot if Taven's out long term because I don't really trust Cam or Jakari as it stands right now. And I'm I'm in 2 different places right now mentally where it's it was so frustrating to watch that. And I don't know, they went into Kansas State and maybe I got ahead of myself and I thought Kansas State was worse than they were. But I thought, okay, maybe they could win this game. Once they lost that, both of us were sitting here today, during the day watching games. And we're like, I don't really think we're going to win tonight. Yeah,
I really didn't think so at all during the week. We had a podcast where I said, I don't think they're going to win.
They go up 14-0. And I'm like, hold on a second. They found something with this offensive line. Miles is unlocked. They're figuring this out. And even at Kansas got back in the game. Obviously, they weren't going to hold Jalen Daniels and the Kansas offense down completely, but it was 20-14 going into half, getting down the field and getting that field goal, and then they were going to get the ball out of halftime. I'm like, if they get down the field and score a touchdown, they're feeling good. No, they shut out in the second half, and to get down to the 1-yard line and have that chance and not be, I just keep going back to that in my head. And it was so frustrating. And at the same time, like you just said, if you had told me before the season UCF's going to be 3-2 after 5 games, I would have been like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. the inconsistency was always going to be there with this team, I think, because of the talent level, because of all the moving pieces, the new guys, the new coaching staff, everything. And it's not the most talented team in the world.
That's kind of the thing is like it's nothing here. Nothing that's happening is a surprise.
Yeah.
Nothing here that's happening is, whoa, who could have ever fathomed? I mean, we talked about repeatedly that you have a team, and I'm not going to talk specifically about the offense for a second, because let me just say defense had a really rough night for a good stretch there. They still, even with the non-functioning offense, became the first defense this year to hold Kansas to under 30 points. Like, defense is doing what it can.
Yeah.
We talked about all offseason that when you have, and we talked about during the season too, is that, and I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just like, what else can you say about this offense is that this offense it's got a lot of players who are fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it has any players who are horrible. I don't think it has any players. I'm serious.
Some O-linemen are horrible.
A couple of linemen, horrible is a strong word, but it's a lot of guys who are fine. There are no stars. There are no go-to, that's your playmaker under. Even guys like Miles who are like on the higher end of that. He's not RJ Harvey. And
not a superstar.
Exactly. And when you have an offense, because even when UCF has been bad in the past, there's usually one or two guys who are like that next transcendent level. And when you have none of that, it's just really, really hard to play a clean, consistent game because you need all of those guys. It's like Taven's not going to hit on every throw. There's going to be some that just suck. Receivers aren't going to get open on every play. O-linemen aren't going to block on every play. And it's just when all of that is an issue, when no one there is like that next level guy, it's just there are too many moments where the inconsistency overlaps and the offense shuts down. And that's just going to keep being a problem, regardless of who's at quarterback.
And I know it was a weird situation where obviously the portal and it's a different thing, but this is I don't know if UCF's been in this situation before, definitely not anytime recently, where they don't have like that guy.
No.
Because like I'm thinking 2015, Traquan Smith won American
AAC Freshman of the Year.
And he was a star from the beginning. So it's just like I'd look around this offense and it's like, yeah, a bunch of guys are okay, but none of them are carry this offense and be the feature guy in the offense.
But it's because we're in uncharted times. Like this is a new scenario for UCF that we've never seen for them in the program history, where when a coach leaves now, like when George O'Leary resigned, there were still, all those guys were still there. And Frost came in and found guys like Shaquem Griffin and stuff like that. Gus left and the roster dissolved and they had to put a new roster together, and the offense was hit particularly badly. The defense, they were able to hold together a little more. There's a lot more consistency on defense, and lo and behold, the defense is better than the offense. So it just kind of is what it is. And I don't want fans to freak out because like this sucks. Like that was such a frustrating game to be in a situation where you were at the goal line and you can't pick up a single yard and realize you're in the situation where that just is what it is. Roger Simmons, my father, says thoughts on play calls at the goal line. I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing stuff on Twitter, like more than I was expecting, of people being like, Frost play calling sucked. This isn't a Frost offense. How could he have done that? I'm just telling you right now, guys, I'm not saying the play calling was perfect. I'm saying that when you have a bad O-line, I really, truly don't know as a play caller or a head coach what you're possibly supposed to do. It's 1 yard.
Yeah.
They tried to sneak it twice. That didn't work twice. They tried something different. None of it worked. I don't know. I really don't know.
The only thing, and again, this is a risk, but it might be a risk you have to take because your offensive line's that bad. But I'm surprised they didn't do any of the horizontal stuff where it wasn't, a quick screen to Speedy or a quick whatever. Just get the ball out and throw the ball. You don't really want to throw the ball at the half-yard line, but
this is the thing. If they'd thrown the ball, we'd be sitting here going, that's absolutely insane. They threw the ball when they were at the 1 yard line. Like, it's a loser.
Not if they had gotten stuffed twice already, though.
I still would have thought that would have been freaking insane if they'd thrown the ball on that 4th and 1.
I was like, clearly they couldn't get it a yard because
the play calling stuff that bothered me more with Frost, it was nothing about the goal line situation. It felt like when things shut down, it felt like they got super timid. Like, I'm just sitting here, and it just feels like we can predict it before it happens, where they go out there and it goes, okay, they're going to try like a little timid run with Miles again.
Yeah, first time
okay, it didn't work. It's once again 2nd and long. Like, they just kept putting themselves in 2nd and long over. It's like, try something different on 1st down. And listen, some of that's on the player. Like, when Cam took over, like, Cam was not reading the field well. He was not making good decisions on when to keep the ball, and that was hurting them badly. And as a coach on the sideline, like, the mic in the quarterback's helmet cuts out before the play starts. So, like, Frost can't be like, hey, stop that. Like, it just is what it is. So I don't know. To me, I get that this is college football. It's football in general. The things go bad, you're going to go, I can't believe the coach did that. It is what it is. This game isn't an indictment on Frost to me. It's just an indictment on this roster is what it is. And they're hitting the limit of what they're capable of. And I'm not in a situation where I'm sitting here going, oh, the season's shot. I know some people are like that. I've seen some comments in the comment section like that, and I get it because that's being a college football fan. They beat UNC, and we were like, good news, winning the conference. And now we're back to reality. And the situation we're in is, one, we got to clarify the Taven situation before we can break anything out, because that makes such a huge difference to me. But there are still 2 games on the schedule I feel great about, even with what we know now. And it's West Virginia and Oklahoma State. Those 2 teams just are showing up to get killed at this point. West Virginia's quarterback quit, which was like, no thanks, I'm going to hit the portal. Oklahoma State's a mess. So you got those 2. You need 1 more to get to a bowl, which has always been the end game of the season. I don't know where that one is. Maybe it's Houston,
I gotta
but
tell you
got to find it.
We're doing 2023 again right now. And I know we're going to talk about 2016 a little bit, but 2023 all year, we were like, just get to a bowl. It'd be good. Just get to a bowl. And I couldn't see a world where UCF gets to a bowl this year, goes 6-6, and they do so in the most excruciating way possible.
Yep.
The way they did tonight with the loss tonight, the way that the 5-game losing streak in 2023 happened and felt like the worst thing in the world. And then obviously they get the big win against Oklahoma State, turn things around, they get to a bowl, and we're sitting there like, well, they did what we asked them to do, but could they have done it a little done it a little better? So I'm worried we're going down that road again, where it's like, 3-2 through 5 games, kind of what I expected, but I don't know. I can't be mad at them for almost beating Kansas. I shouldn't be like, they should have just lost by 20, but I don't know.
That brings up a good point.
Sitting there is just frustrating watching it happen, where it's like, we can say all offseason, like, oh yeah, just do this. Like, I'm expecting to lose this game. But then you watch them lose the game, and you watch them lose the game that way. You're like, I couldn't really prepare myself for this mentally.
But that does bring up a good point I want to touch on, because you're right in that there's this inherent lunacy of being a fan that we all experience, in that we are more pissed off when they lose the game close. Like, we are a lot more riled up right now. I'm in a much worse mood right now than if Kansas had just beaten them off the field, which I kind of thought might happen. Yeah. Like, we were talking about during the week, I said to you earlier today, I was like, I'm worried that Kansas is just going to go out there and just win with ease.
Them going up 14-0 was like the worst thing that could have happened.
And what we were talking about in the car on the way back is what it reminds me of, and Frost brought it up, is it's more 2016 vibes, because this is kind of what 2016 was, and the very specific game that came to mind for me and for you.
We said at the same time.
We literally both in the car looked at each other and went, Temple.
Yep.
It was Temple in 2016. I remember so clearly. So Temple in 2016, if you don't remember, that was UCF. Or if I pulled the schedule up, was that the game right after Maryland?
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot. But anyway, so 2016.
Idiot for that.
I'm such a moron. God, I'm stupid. I don't know why you guys listen to
a
freaking loser like me. UCF in 2016 was coming off an 0-12 season, which was very bad. This guy named Scott Frost came in, and it was kind of similar to this, where like the team had some guys who you thought might be something, but the team was mostly not that good. The defense was very ahead of the offense, and they were 3-2 going into the Temple game. This is back when, if you were like a newer UCF fan, this may sound shocking here, but there was a time where Temple was actually like one of the better teams in the AAC, playing for and winning the conference. And this was at that time. Temple comes to the bounce house. UCF takes an unexpected lead in the first half and is playing really well with freshman Mackenzie Milton. And I physically remember having a conversation with someone in the press box at that game about how I'm wondering if they can contend for the conference. Seriously, because I'm looking at the schedule and they can beat Temple, they can beat anybody, blah, 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 whatever. And then the second half comes, the team comes out flat. Temple does what Temple does. They have more talent. They've been here. They just played for I think they won the conference the year before. And they ended up beating UCF at the end of the game by 1 point. And it was just this big deflating, oh God, they're not good. And tonight reminds me so much of that. And it makes me feel like we're in line for a similar situation, where what UCF did the rest of 2016 was they had some high highs, they had some really low lows. They won a few more games from there. Some of them, they looked good. And there were also games where they just came out and looked awful and just couldn't do anything. And I think this is a similar team talent-wise compared to the talent on the schedule. Let me tell you, next weekend, not going to be fun.
No.
Turns out Cincinnati's good. Whoops. And I do totally understand if you're a UCF fan. I think there is very real frustration in that, watching BYU stay good and be a great team, watching Cincinnati now saying being that. Houston's still Houston, but that's frustrating too. But it just, the point I kind of want to make is like, I get that the losing close game sucks and it's horrible, but if you guys aren't watching larger college football, West Virginia and Oklahoma State are just going through it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I mean, they're just going out there to get annihilated game after game. They've been doing it all season. Both of them, they go out there, any Power 4 team they play just wipes the floor with them, and that's what they do. And the good news for UCF is that means those are 2 potential wins. I think UCF can and should win both those games. And additionally, as much as
especially with both of them at home.
Yes.
I think.
As much, because the bounce house has proven itself to be such a great environment. Yeah, default 23. So the bounce house or is officially dead. It's not dead. It's on hold until UCF has more talent. But yeah,
Put it on the shelf.
It's frustrating, and I'm totally not going to be like the old, oh, I can't believe people leave. That's so ridiculous. But like, it was a close game, and the rain started, and people kind of left, and it's like, here we go. But as much as this sucks losing close, we'd be having much darker conversations on this podcast if they were just getting killed.
Yeah.
And I think they might get killed next week because it's on the road against the shockingly good Cincinnati team. And I think Dante Corleone might kill UCF, but still.
While we're doing comparisons to old seasons, I feel not completely the same way, but I feel similarly right now going into this Cincinnati game at Nippert Stadium as I did in 2021.
Yeah.
Because, that Cincy team was better than this Cincy team, I think, and UCF had all the injury issues at that point, and we're starting a true freshman quarterback. Don't know who they're going to start a quarterback next week anyway. Might have been, I don't know. True freshman Mikey Keene might be better. But yeah, I just feel like we're just walking into an absolute beatdown, and I'm not looking forward to it.
I know, and it extra sucks because
that game was at noon too.
Yeah,
pretty sure it was.
It was, absolutely was. That was the last time we ever saw pewter in any form. They wore pewter pants for that game.
See, I don't remember anything about that game.
I watched that whole game.
I did too.
And then Cincinnati fans got really mean to me because I said I had the audacity to tweet that if Dylan Gabriel was healthy, I think UCF wins the game. I have a love-hate relationship with Cincinnati fans, except there's no love.
Yeah, they love to hate you.
But the bottom line for the season is one, the big, I don't know, I can't overstate, how do you feel about, I'm worried about the Taven thing. If the Taven injury is a long-term thing,
good.
He
was in a sling?
Was he in a sling?
I thought I saw somebody say
I didn't see him on the sideline after, so I don't know. But he looked like he was in a lot of pain. He went to the locker room, and he obviously didn't come back in. It looked like a hand injury. I have two different takes for how this season plays out from here, and it depends on who the quarterback is. Because being down to Cam Fancher, that's a tough situation. And Cam didn't play horribly tonight. He just is a really sporadic, inconsistent player who makes some really questionable decisions. And just he made some decent throws that worked out in some important situations. He had a couple athletic moments, but most of his decision-making was really rough. And maybe that's something they can work on with him now that he's going to clearly be the starter going forward if Taven's hurt and Jakari's hurt. But I just feel infinitely better about things working out if Taven can come back. And if Taven can't come back, I don't know. I think the situation with either of them at this point is you have to win West Virginia. You have to win Oklahoma State. I think they can and will win both those games. You have to find another one.
Space game.
Yeah.
That was scary.
I'm worried that this could be the year that the space game goes away in its magic because I don't know. I hope to be wrong about that. I really do hope to be wrong about that. Houston, I don't know. It's not even really anything about Houston. It's just like this team just feels so inconsistent. And I feel like we've caught a big break the last couple of years with the space game, to be real with you. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
I just remembered that I have a meme for the space game, win or lose. So I'm prepared.
That's good. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Houston is the space game potentially, but I'm trying to look at the schedule and what other.
There's really not. This was the one I think because we talked about it. We're like if they get to 4-1. The two that they need to win, they've got West Virginia, they've got Oklahoma State, and you talk about maybe they beat Houston, that's 7 wins. But now it's those 3 home games you have to win, otherwise you're asking them to win at Baylor or at Texas Tech, which they're not going to do, at BYU.
I don't know how to do these.
What's the other way? Cincinnati.
It's at Cincinnati, at Baylor, at Texas Tech, at BYU. Yeah. Those are the other games other than the 3 we think they can win. I don't think it's college football and it's fluky. 0-4 UCLA just beat a top 10 Penn State. I'm not saying they absolutely can't. Yeah. Sometimes weird stuff just happens, but you can't count on that. My nightmare scenario, which we talked about this offseason, which I fear we're getting close to, is you're going on the road to Provo Thanksgiving weekend and you need that game to get to a bowl.
Yeah.
You're 5-6. And I don't know, man. I think it does come down to the space game, which is crazy, but
I didn't see any of the game, so I don't know. I think someone just said that Houston lost tonight, but they look good. They lost 35-11. I don't really know. Okay, they were sort of in it. I don't know. I didn't see any of the game. So
Christopher Oxentine says Texas Tech is going to beat UCF like a rented mule. Why would you beat a mule?
That's a saying.
Is that a saying?
Yeah, I remember Jim Ross, wrestling commentator, used to say beaten like a government mule. I never really knew what it meant.
This is what happens when I hope we're not saying something really offensive or bad. I grew up in Orlando. I don't know all the farming stuff. But yeah, the Texas Tech game is going to be that the Texas Tech defensive line that they spent 7 figures on, including a guy you may have heard of named Lee Hunter. That defensive line going up against this UCF offensive line is going to genuinely be one of the worst things any of us have experienced as UCF fans, and I'm not looking forward to it. But it is what it is.
I got an answer from the AI overview. Government
that's never
mule
wrong.
is an American slang term derived from a phrase "beaten like a government mule," suggesting someone is being unfairly or excessively burdened. The term is famously the name of a Southern rock band formed in 1994. Blah 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 blah. But
this is why you guys like the post-game pods, because we'll even drop a surprise fact you may not know on you, and that's what we've got here. But guys, it's just we're in 2016, which is what we thought. I know we don't like being in this situation. I'm not saying what Matt Dolan just said.
Yeah, I don't know about
I'm not going to say that one, guys. Can we not send alarming? Can we not? But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I really. It comes down to those three, and I hate to be the podcast that's writing off games and saying we can't, like, there's not really a point, but like
we say, join us next week for our preview podcast,
and we'll preview it. Yeah. And because Cincinnati, like, I'm not saying they can't. Like, if we get to next Saturday and UCF like wins a close one, I'll be surprised and happy, but I wouldn't be like, who would have thought a million years? So like, we'll talk about it, but UCF is what it is at this point. They have their weaknesses that they have to find a way to deal with because we know they can't overcome them. There's no way to fix. The offensive line just is what it is at this point. That's not something that's not a position group or an issue you can easily fix in season. So it is what it is. It's more just if the goal in year 0 was to get to a bowl, Brian, I swear to God, we'll get to the uniforms. Brian is blowing up the chat. They're not talking about the uniform. If the goal is get to a bowl, just take care of those 3 games that you know you can win. I was trying
to think of the next thing I was going to say, the next point that I was going to make. The first thing that popped in my mind is we're doomed. So that's where I am.
Spare Room Film says the unis tonight were horrible. Hey, Spare Room Films, you can leave. Get out of the chat. Go to bed. You can. This is what happens, man. This is what I'm gonna talk about, the freaking uniforms. Are we good to go?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know.
This is gonna be a shorter one, but like, guys, what are we? Yeah, they lost. It sucked.
This makes me feel good. UCF had to go through 2016 to get 2017. I just like to think that way.
Yeah, thank you, Hummus Lover 69, for that comment. Appreciate that comment, Hummus Lover. The thing about uniforms that I'm laughing at from Spare Room Films comment is we've talked about this before. People, you're coming out of frame a little bit. Coming back over.
This is your segment, so
people really like the uniforms. The thing about this is that I knew that everyone was going to love the uniforms that came out this year, regardless of what they looked like, because Scott Frost was the head coach and people were happy again. And sure enough, UCF's 3-0 and everyone's like, we love the uniforms. They're great. And they are really good uniforms. UCF loses. Oh, now night mode sucks. It's like, you guys, it's just, I can't. But yeah, we can do a little uniform talk and get out of here. This was, I liked the night mode jerseys. I did. I think that it was weird because, like, I think we talked a lot about, like, we knew they were retooling night mode. We knew they'd been in the video game, except the video game is not perfectly accurate. We knew that night mode was coming out. And I guess I hadn't thought of them as being as different as the main set was going to be, just because I was like, oh, well, they already have night mode. They are pretty different. The darker gold is pretty different. I think, and I don't want to repeat myself with the same thing for every game, but it's like it's another example of the giant Polaris stars making a pretty significant difference on the. Oh, I pronounced Christopher Oxentine's name wrong. Sorry, buddy.
I should have known that. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But yeah, the thing about the uniforms that I liked was, again, it's the gold on the helmets with the decals. It's the gold Polaris stars. It's the gold. The numbers, it all just works together. This one worked really well because obviously the whole pitch with night mode is it's all black and all gold. I'm excited to go look at it on the broadcast, but I think it worked. I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun alternate. I think one thing I'm curious to see it with is I don't think you can mix it with the gold helmet. I think the gold helmet this is a dark gold is a scale of yellow to brown. This gold is more towards brown. The gold helmets are more towards yellow. I don't think you can mix them. I think the gold pants are meant to be like the exact gold of that's on night mode. So I'd like to see a black gold with night mode is what I'd like to see.
I'm with it. Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say really quickly is that about the decals was there's been a lot of talk among us and the people who care about this type of stuff about UCF getting rid of the chrome gold decals and just going to it's just straight color decals. It's not the shiny chrome texture. It's working for me. And it's particularly working for me because the chrome gold always looked cool during the day. And the night games, especially in the old night mode, it would just kind of disappear into the helmet because there wasn't much light for it to play off of, obviously, because the sun's not out. This, just having the bright decal that was the exact same gold as the numbers and the stars and the pants, the whole uniform just works so well together. It was just a lot more cohesive of a look.
You and I talked about this right before we left for the game. Default 23 says, would you change the coloring of the name in the back, or do you like it? Even even with a gold outline around the name. That's the one part of the jersey that I don't.
I don't know if I've ever seen a nameplate with an outline on the
I would just
name.
think I would like gold nameplate.
Yeah, I think I would too. I don't really get I don't get the black on black. I mean, it doesn't I know some people go nuts about it. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other because also the way the lights bounce off of it, you can typically see the name anyway. But yeah, I think gold would have been fine. I wondered at one point if it was a thing where gold wasn't an option for a nameplate color, but when they had light mode a couple years ago, it was gold on light mode. So I don't know. But yeah, I thought the uniforms were solid. Unfortunately, you're all going to hate them, and it's going to be
they lost them.
Other big thing: screen printed Nighthead on the sleeves versus sublimated. That makes a way bigger difference than I was anticipating. That the thing, it was shining and just popping right off the shoulders. I really, really solid uniforms. UCF's just got it's a really, really cool uniform set. It's the most on-brand uniform set they've had in forever. So
it does feel like they're UCF.
It does, for sure.
That's good.
And really quickly, Brian points out the Kansas uniforms are really cool too.
They were
really cool. The one thing I didn't like about them, which is like a nitpick thing for me, is I really hate when teams repeat when you have the decal on the helmet and you have the exact same logo on the sleeves.
Get ready to learn Cincinnati again, buddy.
Cincinnati has that freaking Chick-fil-A logo 8 places on the uniforms. It's going to bother me. That Kansas, that felt like a little much. I would have liked to see a different shoulder design or different decal. It's still really solid uniforms.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on.
I don't know. Spare Room Films is just he's going back on. He's just lying to us now.
He's in my head.
Hey, if you're listening to this tomorrow or later tonight or whenever, and you're seeing the chat and thinking it's fun, come join us for the live shows. They're fun. We're having a really fun time doing these.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that if it's a Saturday and it's 12:23 a.m. and UCF just lost a football game, you should be here with us and not doing anything else. So
yeah.
But really, these have been the one nice thing about this season is the live shows have been really fun. I'm really enjoying doing this with you guys even after the losses. And it's really fun.
That's what was cool, and it'll be cool again next week. Is after the Kansas State game last week, we were able to go live immediately. And we'll since we don't have to get back from the stadium and all that stuff, the away games are a lot easier for us to get right on and get started. So
so everyone who's here now, thanks for being with us. This is fun. And anyone who's listening to the recording, come and join us next week. It'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. I was gonna say, well, maybe not, but they're fun even when they lose to me. I don't know, it just feels like a little bit of it's a little cathartic for me, I guess. I don't know.
2 letters, 2 words says, don't end the show. It's time for an all-nighter.
He said that.
Boy, do I have bad news about what's about to happen right now.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Anything else?
No.
I ask you right as you're taking a sip of water.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, like I said, we'll do things we missed in our normal episode this week, and we'll see if we come up with anything. But I guess we didn't talk a ton about the defense tonight, and that the defense was a positive. They overcame a lot. I mean, Jalen Daniels was torching them at points, and they somehow managed to stop those drives where they were getting torched from turning into touchdowns most of the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the offense was in no position to take advantage of that.
That's the other thing that's, I think, even more frustrating. Just to prolong the podcast. The only touchdown the defense allowed in the second half was on a 2-yard field.
And how dare they? How dare they? Kansas's defense didn't allow 1 yard, and UCF's defense allowed.
That's right now that they held them to field goals in those other 2 drives. It was 20-20, and Taven hit the sack fumble, sets them up at the 2-yard line. They score.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want them to do there.
No, that didn't even count as a drive. It is actually funny, though, that it's our defense allowed 2 yards and Kansas defense didn't allow 1. So that's very cool. That's things are out. But shout out to the defense.
Self-serving here. Shout out to Chris Roxentine again. He said, Bailey, hopefully the Buccaneers get us that Buccaneer Bruce victory tomorrow. I got to tell you, the October thing is really getting to me. UCF hasn't won a game in October since October 29th, 2022. And they've lost 8 games in a row now in October. And just again, to speak more on the Bucs stuff that I do like, the Bucs have been really bad in October too. So I forgot what I have it up on Twitter. I forget what the stat is. They're 2-8 in the last few years, something like that in October. So I don't know what it is about the month of October. I like the fall. I love getting into the October, but it hasn't been kind to me. And I don't know if UCF's ever going to win in October again. Their chance that I don't think they're going to win next week, so they better beat West Virginia. They better beat West Virginia.
The last time UCF won a game in October, I was 25 years old. I still have my youth. I didn't have gray hair yet.
You have gray hair?
Yeah, I do. I actually have. Now we're just going to do hair on the podcast. I don't really If you watch the video podcast regularly, you know that sometimes basically what you watch is I don't have a beard and I don't not have a beard. I just don't shave that often. So it grows out, then I go ugh, and then I shave it. It's starting to my chin. It's turning white on my chin.
That sentence broke my brain.
What?
I don't have a beard and I do have I don't know what you just said. All right,
I never really.
go.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Tune in on our next podcast when we will talk about, how our hair is going gray. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody for joining us. You can follow us on Twitter at BaileyJAdams22, at @ByCASimmons, at Night Sports Now, and at Pegasus Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being with us, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.